Today, let's begin with round 6. The title of today's lesson is The God Who Acts Behind the People of the Global Village. God is the omniscient and omnipotent existence who can talk with all the people of the universe at the same time. God said that He functioned or worked behind the united army of the democratic nations to have them get the victory during the Second World War. And He said again that He will work to have Korea become the central country of the world. On the Israeli and Korean flags, there is the design of woman yang, which symbolizes God. And God's peace humanitarianism is based upon the Spiritist first ideology. And on the Israeli flag, this is the Israeli flag, this triangle is and the another triangle is yang, just like the yang in the Korean national flag. God continues to say that He is the omniscient and omnipotent, as well as the non-adding and non-subtracting existence. And furthermore, He is the greatest wisdom among a lot of pieces of wisdom. For example, He can know the mind of all the people in the universe at the same time. Quite alarming, isn't it? And like the human being who appeared in front of Mr. Kim Mo-gun in his dream, and who talked with him, with Mr. Kim, God can make quite a large number of human beings. And those human beings can talk with God simultaneously. In order to show Mr. Kim an example of God's omnipotence, God accompanied him and went to a side of the universe where they could see the earth far away from them. Then God made a star. In this case, it means a planet. God made a star as He got molecules and atoms together all at once. And when they flew over the planet, they could see mountains, the sea, and woods. Then the planet began to be destroyed, and at last it disappeared in the space. This sort of tremendous ability is an example of the omnipotence of God. God says that a human being is more important than a lot of stars or galaxies in the space, because the human being is the partial body of God. Well, this is the reason why 영원제일주의 means the ideology that the human spirit is the most important thing in the universe. 영원제일주의. This is the reason why 영원제일주의, which is the basis of the peace humanitarianism, is so important. This sort of ability is high above the ability of most of the common gods. And it is the God's dimension which is in the quite different level. It is my own annotation. God says to Mr. Kim Mo-gun that He made communism defeated by the liberal democracy in the past era, and made Korea, that is one of the poorest countries, grow tremendously economically during a short time, and made Korea enter the districts of the advanced countries. God says that He made the United Forces win the Second World War, and made lots of countries democratize behind the curtain with His own capability and providence. God says that He will have 7 columns, namely 7 excellent leaders appear in the Korean Peninsula in the future, and there will appear 5 righteous persons abroad. And then He will make the global scientists, He will make the global society a paradise. that which he says is not based upon the vacuum, but upon his omnipotent ability. Therefore, if anyone believes in the fact, and if he tries hard to realize lots of things that God said to the people in reality, he or she will be given the infinite bliss and blessing. Here, that which the God says to us, that is the tremendous good news and what makes the faces of the Korean people bright, is that the paradise on the earth will be made in Korea first. And after that, any nation cannot fulfill any task without coming in contact with Korea. This is a surprising fact too, isn't it? God says that He will make Korea the central country and confer the ability and the authority on her. And as a result, Korea will become the nation of God. Here there is a very extraordinary utterance of the God in the future. There will appear a cause of the mutual survival with the cooperation and the reconciliation of after the tense mutual confrontation between South and North Korea, and God will function behind the silhouette curtain as following. It is in the page 144 of this book, 한민족의 비밀과 사명. Well, the reason why I gave the half of the Korean peninsula to the evil group, and the reason why I had quite a lot of unclean things bloom on the half place of Korea, is that I will have those wrong things bloom and will have them disappear. This utterance seems to be related with the fact that God showed Mr. Kim Moo-gun the Korean peninsula, and when he drew the dark power from North Korea, she shone with a bright light. In other words, we can interpret it after he makes all of the negative elements disappear from the North Korea, he will have both of two Koreas enter the gates of the mutual cooperation and reconciliation. God continues to say that the unification of both South and North Korea will ignite the unification of the world, which will be a sort of tremendous occurrence. God continues to say that there is no one who will do this work, and only God can do this work. Therefore, it is necessary for the Koreans and the residents of the world to watch what will happen in the Korean peninsula with expectation and belief. God says that what will happen there will be miraculous, and the people have never had any experience of seeing that sort of thing before. By the way, there is one interesting thing here, and it is the 음양, which means the God of the universe. He says that only Israel and Korea have the national flag, that is this and yang design figure. He says that Hiranya, which is in the Israeli national flag, signifies and yang, and Taeguk, which is in the Korean national flag, is the design that signifies the God, of course. Here, there is some considerable relationship between Israel and Korea. In the times of the Old Testament, the blood of the Passover, which was the activity that prevented calamity, was a sort of shadow and model thing. And the reality was the blood of Jesus Christ. This story of the Passover is in the Exodus of the Old Testament. Exodus is 출애굽기, Exodus. God says that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ was a shadow and model thing, and the reality was the sacrifice of the Korean people during the 625 Korean War. He says that the era in which we live is that of the promise. As a result, thanks to the sacrifice during the 625 Civil War, the residents of the globe could overcome the crisis of the destruction by the atomic war between the democracy and the communism. God says again that it would be better for us to change the phrase 하느님이 보호하사 into the phrase 하나님이 보호하사. Probably the reason is that instead of the word 하늘님 or 하느님, God seems to like 하나님 better. For the letter 하나님 means the only one God in the universe. Here the God says about an important thing. That is, we may as well designate the date October 10th to be a holiday for commemorating Him, 하나님. He says that if we do it, He will be greatly glad. Then when God asked Mr. Kim Moon as to what sorts of content have to be inserted into the peace humanitarianism, Mr. Kim answered as following. Well, first of all, as the spirit of the human being is the part of God, there should be inserted the 영혼제일주의. It means the spirit of the human being is the most important thing of all. And secondly, as we are all in the same tribe or same race, same people, brothers and sisters in front of God, the ideology of Han has to be involved in it. And thirdly, the principle of love should be attained. And fourthly, the principle that we are all the people of the nation of the earth before a certain person is one member of a special country. When Mr. Kim told the upper sentences, God said that Mr. Kim answered all in the right way. Now there is a precious God's preaching, that is His words of the truth. In short, this preaching is, I think, as high as or one step higher than the preaching of Jesus Christ, who told the crowd on a mountain. It is in the page from 205 to 212 of this book, 한민족의 비밀과 사명. And it is hard for me to introduce all of them to you here. And so, you may as well buy the book and read the sentences. Even though his preaching is duplicated with the teachings of the masters of the old times, it is greatly different from them in the fact that God tells about His plan to make Korea the central country of the globe, and He tells about the mind posture of the people, which is absolutely necessary in making the world a paradise, and that there is a method of discarding one's karma. God says that when a person respects Him with all his or her mind and with a sincere belief, his bad karma can be discarded naturally by the God's ability. Then let's see about the teaching of God. In the Bible, a bride does not appear at the first appearance of Jesus Christ, but she appears in the resurrection of Him. Resurrection, 예수 재림, resurrection of Him. In the revelation of Saint John, 요한계시록, this bride is represented as the Holy Jerusalem. And this expression means your country. So Holy Jerusalem is Korea, your country. In other words, it means that I means God. God become the bridegroom, and Korea becomes the bride. Korea becomes the bride. As a result, your country, Korea, will become the central nation in the world, and so your country will set up the unification government of the world. Now the liberal democracy is coming to the end, and the new age in which the peace humanitarianism ideology that all of the people of the globe are members of one family or one race rules the world begins now. And so, sing the song of the national anthem. This Korean national anthem should be the anthem of the people's formal ritual of the world unification government. And if anyone denies this anthem, he or she will be discarded surely from the name of the 144,000 righteous persons. You may feel horrible due to the atomic bombs of the powerful nations of the globe, but I have made the good-minded aliens have the activity of prohibiting the launching of the bombs with the radio modulating and far-reaching regulating apparatus if a country tries to use or fire an atomic bomb. Furthermore, when the people of the earth confronted each other between the democracy and communism, the Korean 625 Civil War broke out for the redemption of the Third World War, which would accompany the atomic bomb. And even though the mountains and fields of Korea were filled with their deaths, this war prevented the Third World War. Therefore, the Korean people substituted their blood for the death of all of the people of the earth. If anyone denies this fact, I will not have him or her belong to the number 144,000 of the righteous ones.